coming up tomorrow. It is Columbus Crew taking on LAFC. Crew seeking a third title in their fourth MLS Cup appearance, the last one in 2020. LAFC, the defending champions. Let's welcome in Nedum and Onuoha as well. But let me start with you, Herc, given that you're there and given that you're already freezing your backside off, and Nedum's looking much cooler in his very upmarket apartment backdrop there. Carlos Vela's future, that's what I want to talk to you about, Carlos Vela. Could be his final year with LAFC. What is the legacy he leaves if this is the case?
You don't want to talk about the cooking show that Nedum looked like he's on? We could talk about Carlos Vela if you want. Listen, we talked about the last dance. This could very well be the last dance for a player like Carlos Vela, who will be the before and after for LAFC. The first player they ever signed, one of the best players to ever play in the city of Los Angeles, a historic player in Major League Soccer. He said it many times. It's all about ironing out the details. He doesn't want to be nickel and dimed. He won't continue to play just to play. He's on more than $4 million a year right now. Certainly since the historic 2019 season, his production has dipped. He's not the same player who scored 34 goals and gave 15 assists in that MVP season. It's a different player. It's a player in Carlos Vela who certainly means something to Los Angeles, but Ali and Nedum and Stevie could attest to, LAFC has never had a problem with moving on from their figures, whether it's Bob Bradley, whether it's Walker Zimmerman, Defender of the Year, whoever the case may be, a Diego Rossi, they will let those players walk on, move on. We could be seeing that same case with a Carlos Vela. This could be his last dance, as tomorrow LAFC, who isn't the favorite team, will face a Columbus team that is favored and playing at home. This could be very well the end of Carlos Vela and his adventure in Major League Soccer.
Your thoughts on this question, Carlos Vela, and the legacy that he leaves?
When you have a player come in and the situation in which Carlos Vela did for LAFC, what you want is for that player to embrace Major League Soccer and really get himself knee deep and elbow deep in everything that is MLS. And I think Carlos Vela has done that and more. On the field, it's undeniable his impact on LAFC and his impact on Major League Soccer. The productivity has been there. He gave this team an identity and a star right away. You looked to Carlos Vela and you knew that even though you were certain that he was going to come back to his left foot, he still came back to his left foot and he still scored goals. So there's a certainty to the way that he played for LAFC and the way that he has produced for LAFC. What I would say about Carlos Vela, in particular about tomorrow's game, is that he may not be the most important player or the reason as to why LAFC win MLS Cup. It may just be that LAFC, and Nedum is going to love this, it may just be that LAFC wins this match, if indeed they go on to do it, because defensively they have turned their season around. Because defensively they have found over the last month and a half consistency, and they have found a back line that works. And in Maxime Crépeau coming back from injury, a terrible injury in last year's MLS Cup, that he has been hot as well. If those guys play at a high level tomorrow, that back line and Maxime Crépeau, then you're looking at LAFC, a team that has become much more about their defending than their attacking.
Well, let's get the thoughts of Chef Nedum then, shall we, with Carlos Vela, because you actually came up against him when you were playing in MLS. What was he like back then?
Yeah, he was great. So I came in the second half of the 2018 season, and believe it or not, at RSL we actually won one playoff game, and that was at LAFC with Carlos Vela playing. They had Diego Rossi, Cristian Ramirez, and that was great to be there. The atmosphere was electric. Vela was the star, the talisman of the team, and that was the game where Demir Krajlak did the scissor kick. It was one of the goals of that season. But then to go into the next season in 2019, himself and LAFC, they were incredible. I know they didn't necessarily win anything beyond Supporter Shield that season or the years after, but they just felt so different to every other team in the league. Their sort of defensive organisation, the midfield was quality, the front line, like I said, Diego Rossi on one wing, Carlos Vela on the other. They were great, and as Ali was saying, they really embraced, and Carlos Vela really embraced MLS. I think at the same time, there was someone who was in LA as well who was saying everything wrong with MLS. But Carlos Vela, he was the poster boy for it. He was the poster boy for LA. It's nice when things are going well in LA because it sort of brings a bit of energy to the league as well. Some of the goals he scored were great. I think the way they tried to play football, teams were trying to be like them. So it was great to have played in the league with him. Great to see the impact that he had. And I think as a player stepping into that league for the first time, you do need people to really embrace the journey and embrace what it is to be in that league. And he definitely did that. And obviously his production has dropped off over the last few years. but that 2019 season that he delivered there is probably going to be one of the best in MLS history. So it's a shame if he does wrap it up, but at 34 and the way football's going, I suppose it's one of those things that just ends up being inevitable.
All right, let me go around the table. Let me start with you then, Nedum. What's your prediction?
I'm going to go for Columbus because you've obviously got Diego Rossi playing for them. You've got Cristiano Ramirez, the fact they're at home as well. Ramirez, who used to be at LA. But one of my favourite players in MLS when I was there was Darlington Nagbe. And I think if he's playing and he can get into the rhythm of the game and move the ball well, I think I'm going to have to go for them, especially with them being at home.
Yeah, Columbus are favourites, and not just with Ali Moreno, a former player with them. Who are you going for?
Yeah, by the way, people keep asking about Ali if he's going to be here. I said, I tell him I don't know. I told him, Ali's going for LAFC, even though he's wearing gold today. I think it's the gold of LAFC. I will go for Columbus, though. I can't trust LA, and the reason I say this is this is an LA team that this year, Leagues Cup, Campeones Cup, CONCACAF Champions League, is a team that has blown big moments. And William Nancy's team, they beat the number 2 team in Orlando in the league. They beat the number 1 team in Cincinnati in the league. When they get punched in the mouth, they get back up. They know how to play these moments, and they'll be playing at home against an LAFC team that Ali's got a point. They're pragmatic, they're defensive, they found that stability in the back, but they've not been down. They've not been out. They've not had to chase a game. And I think if you have to chase a game against a team like Columbus, they're going to do you in. I got 3-1 Columbus on this one.
Why aren't you there, Ali?
Well, that's a good question. See, I don't make the decisions around here, Kay. I don't know if you know that. I'm just saying. Hey, Herc, all you got to do is just throw my name around. It'll get you places. I'm just saying. It'll get you places.
I'm going to use it tonight, man. I'm going to use it tonight.
It'll get you places.
It'll get him a cup of Shirley too.
Well, it'll get him something, yeah.
That's what.
What do you think it's winning, Stevie?
Columbus.
Okay.
Every single thing is going for Columbus.